Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on the EFF marching on Kleinfontein on the 2nd of May and just causing havoc. In essence, that's what happened. So I'm going to break down what Kleinfontein is, why it is an issue for the EFF, and then of course showing their hypocrisy through all of this. So you just need to know that what is important here is the absolute double standards at play. Because the EFF is clearly too lazy to go to Oranje because it's in the middle of nowhere, and they know that they'll get their asses handed to them if they decide to go to Oranje. But you know, it's expensive to arrange buses to transport thousands of people to go to the middle of nowhere. So that is why the EFF decided on an easy target, which is Kleinfontein, that is in Pretoria, and it's a small cultural village that exists there. So let's dive into it. So Kleinfontein is located in the eastern parts of the capital, has recently drawn attention for its segregationist policies similar to those of Oranje in the Northern Cape. Now, the EFF said more than 30 years into democracy, Kleinfontein cannot continue to exist as an exclusively white community. Now, before I get in here, let's just listen to what Donnie de Beer has to say. Asked whether black people were welcome to live in Kleinfontein, the spokesperson Donnie de Beer replied to News 24 saying, "Your question was directly about race. My answer is directly about culture. So anybody of any color that fits the Afrikaner culture and applied successfully can live here." The settlement has recently faced growing public attention, with both the EFF and the MK party expressing outrage over its continued segregationist policies. But as you just heard there, somebody like Renaldo, who sings Afrikaans music, who is a Christian, who believes in Afrikaner values and principles, Renaldo can go and live in Kleinfontein or in Oranje. So he, as a black person, can go and live there as long as he espouses Afrikaans culture and Afrikaner culture, right? So there, the race argument is already in its moer. But the EFF and MK doesn't want you to understand that or believe that. So they go and do what they do to try and cause people to get misinformation about it so that they can look like absolute champions. So what is Kleinfontein? Kleinfontein is a culturally segregated Afrikaner-only settlement near Pretoria, South Africa, that was founded in 1992. Now, members of the African National Congress and Democratic Alliance Youth have denounced the settlement and the continued existence of Afrikaner-only settlements in post-apartheid South Africa. Now, look at that. 1992. This little town has existed for 33 years and have not bothered anybody. Now, in a country with 84 murders a day, a violent sexual crime every few seconds, crumbling infrastructure, this is what's important to the EFF. The small little town that's not bothering anybody. And when I say small, it's 8.6 square kilometers, about 900 hectares. This little town is giving the EFF chest pains and sleepless nights, and also Mkhonto Wesizwe, the MK party. Now, I just don't understand how a 33-year-old town that has clearly shown that they're not interested in overthrowing the government or wanting to claim independence is now suddenly this massive issue that every single mainstream media outlet has spoken about since they marched there on the 2nd of May, and this of course being the EFF. Now, I want to just do a quick comparison here so that you can understand it. So, Kleinfontein is an issue because it's Afrikaners, right? But nobody has an issue with the Inyama Trust. Now, the Inyama Trust is a large land-holding entity in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, managing about 2.8 million hectares. It's almost 30% of the provincial land in KZN. It was established in 1994 to hold and administer the land for the benefit, material welfare, and social well-being of the Zulu nation and communities living on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Inyama Trust that is there to protect the Zulu culture, traditions, and has got 28 million hectares, almost 30% of the land mass of KZN, that's fine. That can exist. No problem. The taxpayers every single year pays money that the government eventually gives to the royal family, the Zulu royalty. And then the same applies to the Xhosa royal family, where they also receive money from the government, which in turn gets it from the taxpayers to fund them being royalty and looking after their culture. So this is the confusing part. Kleinfontein and Oranje is private property, bought by people, not gifted from the government or gifted by the taxpayers. It's private property, and people have an issue with that. But people don't have an issue with the Inyama Trust, where that was gifted 28 million hectares of land. 30% of KZN's landmass was given to them. No problem. No problem. And they can protect their culture, their heritage, that's fine. But the Afrikaner can't do exactly the same thing, even though he bought his own land or her land and just want to have these small little pockets where they can protect their culture. That's a problem for the EFF and MK. But, the Inyama Trust and the Zulu Kingdom, the Zulu Kingdom and the Xhosa Kingdom, that's not a problem. That is the hypocrisy that's at play right here. So if we delve a little bit deeper then into the actual march and what happened on the day, let's do a play-by-play on that, shall we? Alright, so EFF Kada Zero, AfriForum sign 1. Yeah.
We'll get forces to do it.
So this Kada felt so strongly about AfriForum and that sign that he had to go and try and break it down. And ironically, you can see Carl Niehaus right over there. Right over there. So he has seen this individual trying to cause property damage, and instead of trying to say don't do anything, he's laughing with him. So that's a member of parliament that just saw a crime being committed and didn't report it. But hey, doesn't matter, right? The EFF can do whatever they want in this country and there's no issues. So yeah, unfortunately, EFF Kada Zero, AfriForum sign 1. Let's see what happens for the next battle, whenever that happens.
Yeah, the forces will sort it. I'm checking.
And as you can clearly see there's about like 1,500 to 2,000 people that is very angry with this small little town that has never bothered anybody.
We want to say to them, you cannot claim God as your own, especially when you are a racist.
I'm not sure where Kleinfontein has ever proclaimed that God is only theirs and nobody else's. And secondly, on what basis are these individuals racist? The irony here is, of course, that it's always the racists that call other people racist, like Carl Niehaus. I mean, it's just so absolutely hypocritical that you are the ones that are on the doorstep of this little town that's not bugging anybody, and then you are proclaiming them to be racist purely because they want to protect their culture and their heritage.
You cannot claim this nation as your nation. This country belongs to all of us.
Well, that's right. The country does belong to all of us. So why can't places like Oranje and Kleinfontein exist where the focus is on preserving the culture? Because the Zulu Kingdom has it, the Xhosa Kingdom has it. Why can't the Afrikaners have it? Why are you obsessed with attacking the Afrikaners for wanting what the Zulu Kingdom and the Xhosa Kingdom has? The difference, of course, is that the Afrikaners don't want money from taxpayers or the government. They're willing to do it on their own.
And And this land where you are, it is not yours, it is the people's.
No. That is private property called Niehaus. Private property belongs to the person that's paying the mortgage on that. And if the mortgage is paid and it's done, then they own that property and it's theirs. It's private property. So Kleinfontein, private property. Oranje, private property. It does not belong to everybody else. It belongs to the property owner. And as a member of parliament, you should know this, considering that you signed on the bottom of your oath that you will abide to the Constitution. And the Constitution makes it very clear what property rights is and what it's not. And what you just described here is clearly what it's not. Oh, please, this is gold. This is absolute gold. So it almost looks like the EFF on the way to Kleinfontein just opened the bus doors and the taxi doors and says, jump in. Maybe you can say something on stage. Maybe, just come along. And they're like, no, why? Why would we want to go with? It's like, oh no, there'll be food. There'll be a party. We'll play some music and you can get on stage and people will record you. And then it's almost like this lady was then pushed on the stage, and listen carefully to what she's got to say now.
Our problem started in 1913 when our Jan van Riebeck came and took our land from our grandfathers.
Ooh. So Jan van Riebeck arrived in 1913, not 1652, according to this Kada over here. And that's when their problems started. So their problems didn't start in 1652 like so many people claim. No, their problems started in 1913 when Jan van Riebeck arrived. This is the problem. When you fight for a cause, but you don't even know what the cause is about, or you don't even believe in the cause, this is what happens. I mean, listen to how this one guy's even laughing when she says it. Listen to this.
Started in 1913 when our Jan van Riebeck came and took our land from our grandfathers. And the ANC...
Did you hear that? How he laughed at that. And then, of course, in typical EFF fashion, I have to give context here. So Kleinfontein, small little town, 1,500 people, about 900 houses. And this is right on the fence outside of Kleinfontein. So on the other side, there are children in their houses. There are families in the houses. They're all there. They're petrified because there's 1,500 to 2,000 people out there that is singing songs about killing them.
Poor, the farmer, the poor, the farmer, self-esteem.
So, please tell me, Constitutional Court, right, how you can justify this. So, the EFF clearly marches against Kleinfontein because they don't want it to exist, right? This Afrikaner Cultural Village, right? And then they march and they've got all these slogans saying you are racist, you need to be dealt with. And then they go right outside where there are children and families, and then they sing songs about killing them. But hey, according to the Constitutional Court, no, nothing to see here, folks. There's no real meaning behind it. Strategically singing a song about killing people that you hate, and you are right there on their doorstep. There's no connection there at all. Everybody, don't worry about it. Oh, and then this is just a before and after. So this road leads to Kleinfontein, like just behind this person is the entrance to Kleinfontein. Now, please look at how clean everything is. Like, yes, there was a little bit of rain and there's mud, but look how clean it is, all right? And you can see the people are marching there in the distance. They're coming towards here. Look how clean it is. Another thing, why do you need a 9-iron at a peaceful march? Why do you have a golf club in your hand if you're peacefully marching to a town. But look how clean it is. Look at the grass there. And then you can see even the O there. They ripped off the signs. They caused like structural damage. And just look at the state of Kleinfontein after the EFF paid them a visit. Like, there's no self-respect. No self-respect whatsoever. And like no respect for their fellow South Africans. Nobody cared to clean up. Look at that. Look at that. How disrespectful. And then look at the signs got ripped off. Ons God, which is like, it's just religious. And like just got completely ripped off there. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. These small little towns are bugging people to the point where they go there and then vandalize, they vandalized it, sing songs about killing people, and then you get these speeches that don't make sense, like Jan van Riebeeck arriving in 1913, Carl Niehaus, talking about the fact that they are racist, and that the property doesn't belong to them, it belongs to all South Africans, even though it's private property. So in essence, what the EFF and MK is telling you is that if you are proud of your culture and your skin color is like this, then you are a racist. But if you are in the Zulu Kingdom or the Xhosa Kingdom and you want to protect your culture and look after the heritage of it, then it's completely fine. And not only that, you can be gifted land, and every year you get money from taxpayers because, hey, you need to look after your culture and your heritage. But the moment an Afrikaner wants to do the exact same without wanting money from the government or free land from the government and do it themselves, on self, then it's a massive issue and it needs to end immediately. That is the double standards in South Africa. And mainstream media, of course, is just happy to jump along and report on it and not actually factually correct people for the things that are being said. That is what's currently happening in South Africa. Because mainstream media will have you believe that, oh no, none of these things are actually taking place in this country. This is a perfect example of why Donald Trump made the offer to Afrikaners for refugee status, because of things like this. But then mainstream media will tell you, no, none of these things happen. None of this is taking place. But Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A. You go to this little town that hasn't bugged anybody for the last 33 years. Not only then do you destroy the things outside, you litter everywhere, and then you sing songs about killing the people on the other side of the fence. Apparently nothing wrong with that, everybody. Donald Trump is lying, and everybody in the alternative media space bringing this up, people like me, we are all lying. You need to believe and trust the mainstream media that's telling you that this is all nonsense. That is the double standards currently taking place in South Africa. And that's pretty much all I got to say. If you enjoy my content, then please consider subscribing. Smash that like button. Share this video far and wide, especially on WhatsApp. It'll be greatly appreciated. And then if you support me and my content, please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's pretty much all I got to say, everybody. God help us all. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.